Hi. So for the first question, question number 11, it says, a group of men and women were surveyed to investigate the association between gender and the number of friends the person has on social media. Results are shown in the table below. Which of the following procedures is most appropriate for investigating whether an association exists between gender and number of friends a person has on social media? And the answer is E, a chi-square test of independence, because one sample from one population, but unlike the goodness of fit test, there are two categorical variables that result in a two-way table like the one shown in the question. Then question 36. A chi-square test for homogeneity was conducted to investigate whether the 4 high schools in a school district have different absentee rates for each of the 4 grade levels. The chi-square test statistic and p-value of the test were 19.02 and 0.025 respectively. Which of the following is the correct interpretation of the p-value in the context of the test? So the null hypothesis would be that the rates were the same for each grade level, and the HA would be that the rates are different. So the answer is B. Assuming that each high school has the same absentee rate for each grade level, there is a 2.5% chance of finding a test statistic 19.02 or larger. And this is because the p-value is the probability of observing a sample statistic as extreme as the test statistic, which would mean 19.02 or larger. Then we have number 11 here. It says, Bob is a high school basketball player. He is a 70% free throw shooter. That means his probability of making a free throw is 0.70. What is the probability that Bob makes his first free throw on his 5th shot? So this is an example of geometric probability because it is one success. So the formula for that, which can be found on the reference table, is P of x equals x equals 1 minus P to the x minus 1 power times P. That's P of x equals 5, 1 minus 0.7 to the 4th times 0.7, which ends up being 0.00567, which is answer choice B when it's rounded. Then we have question 17, which reads, a company that ships glass for a glass manufacturer claimed that its shipping boxes are constructed so that no more than 8% of the boxes arrive with broken glass. The glass manufacturer believed that the actual percent is greater than 8. The manufacturer selected a random sample of boxes and recorded the proportion of boxes that arrived with broken glass. They tested the hypothesis HO of P equals 0.08 versus HA of P of greater than 0.08 at the significance level of 0.01. The test yielded a p-value of 0.001. Assuming all conditions for inference were met, which of the following is a correct conclusion? And the answer here is D. And D reads that the p-value is less than alpha, and the null hypothesis is rejected. There is convincing evidence that the proportion of all boxes that contain broken glass is greater than 0.08. Because when the p is less than or equal to alpha, you reject the null hypothesis, which means the alternative hypothesis is true and therefore significant. Then we have number 30. And it reads, at a certain bakery, the price of each donut is $1.50. Let the random variable D represent the number of donuts a typical customer purchases each day. The expected value and variance of the probability distribution of D are 2.6 donuts and 3.6 donuts squared, respectively. Let the random variable P represent the price of the donut that a typical customer purchases each day. Which of the following is the standard deviation in dollars of the probability distribution of P? So the standard deviation equals the square root of the variance. So that would be 1.5, because each donut is $1.50, times the square root of 3.6, the variance, which is answer choice B. Then we have number 6. At a college, the scores on the chemistry final are approximately normally distributed, with a mean of 75 and a standard deviation of 12. The scores on the calculus final are also approximately normally distributed, with a mean of 80 and a standard deviation of 8. A student scored 81 on the chemistry final, 84 on calculus, relative to the students in each respective class, in which subject did the student do better? So here you have to find the z-scores and compare them. So the z-score formula can be found in the reference chart, which is z equals x minus mu over the standard deviation. So when you calculate it for each subject, the z-score comes out to be 0.5, which is the same for both, which leads us to answer choice C, that the student did equally well in each course.